as a little girl, you always want your mother. So I used to beg to see my mom. So I had a stepmom who wasn't very friendly. So it's kind of like the Cinderella story.
Okay.
And I used to beg to see my dad all the time. I mean, my mom all the time. And I guess him not knowing how to explain to a young kid, like, why your mother can't have you, why you can't see your mother. He was, his method was just to, like, kind of brush it off, ignore it, don't answer the questions. So eventually I came down, because we lived up north in Fairfield. Came down for Easter, I believe this was back then. Easter was a week before my birthday or a week after. And I begged my aunt to beg my dad to take me to my mom. So she took me. And then from there, I was supposed to stay for about a week. And I think we just moved.
Your mom took you
just took me, didn't tell anyone.
And never returned you back to your father.
Never returned.
I'm Queen ShanShan, and this is a broadcast podcast.
Your girl, Queen ShanShan. Hey girl, hey. We are on another one, our 41st episode, and I am so excited that this is October. October is almost over. We're almost near to the holidays. Edward, what is your feel about that? Because we were just talking about how this week has gone by like a blink.
Girl, this pumpkin is melting. Melting.
And it's so hot.
It's so hot. It's like 90-something today.
It was 90 degrees today. And it doesn't hurt. I mean, it doesn't help that we have more fires, too.
More fires are, burning up the North Country and this area as well. Yeah, it's just warm.
One of my clients, actually, before we started recording about an hour and a half ago, called me. We had a meeting with her tomorrow. And we're meeting here in Culver City. And she's like, I have to cancel. They just closed down the 14 both ways.
Whoa.
So those people who are going to work right now, they're stuck.
Is that north of us?
That's north of us. That's Palmdale, Lancaster area.
Oh my gosh, that's
insane.
So
hundreds of thousands of people who commute to work right now are probably stuck and they can't get home because the fires are right in that area.
Jeez.
And Canyon Country.
That's
yeah. There's fires in Canyon Country. So let's definitely, I know this sounds cheesy, but our prayers and thoughts goes to everybody up there.
100%. But we all might be wearing our birthday suits for Halloween costumes this year.
Why?
Mine's really scary.
What are you wearing? What are you going to
be? My birthday outfit.
You're going to go naked?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Like our birthday outfits. I mean, why not? It's so hot.
It's so hot.
It's not like I'm going to put on a polyester like bunny suit and jump around the streets of West Hollywood.
West Hollywood. Yeah. Speaking of, are you going to do the parade?
I don't even know.
Every year a million more people go. Like,
I can't.
It's very crowded.
I'm so old. I can't do that.
I can't do that anymore.
No, I'm not.
We are going to introduce Miss Princess Dommonique Coleman. And yes, that is her real name. We got the princess. We got the queen. Edward, are you the prince or the duke for tonight?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Who are you?
I'm going back to my heritage. So I am German, or they say we are. So I'm going to be a baron.
Okay.
Baron Edward.
Edward Carr.
Baron Edward Carr.
Yeah. I like it.
This tonight is royalty, honey.
It is royalty.
Yes.
I mean,
no one can mess with us.
I mean, honestly.
We're untouchable. We are truly blue bloods. That's an anticipatory product that we're talking about tonight.
I know what the
blue blood
is going to be about.
What's that about?
Mirror on the wall. Can you tell me anything about?
So many things to talk about on this episode today. So you guys hang tight. Get your coffee, get your tea, get your glass of wine. This is going to be a chock full show. We're going to be right back after this message.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Queen ShanShan, I actually want Jack Frost to be nipping at my nose while I'm roasting my chestnuts on an open fire outdoors. So that means I need a chimney and an outdoor pet.
Happy holidays, hunty, Edward. Yes. And you know what? You're going to contact RB Paving and Landscape Design at 760-947-4191 for a free quote. Or you can also contact them online at Beltran Paving and Landscape Design. Hun, tea, and happy holidays. And we are back with my honored guest, Miss Princess Dommonique Coleman. Hi, Princess.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
What's going on? Princess, that's your real name, Princess.
That is correct. Yep.
Do you get people asking, is that your, like just what I just asked you, is that your real name? Is that your real name?
All the time.
All the time. You're like, and you have to show probably your ID just to prove it, huh?
Not anymore. I'm like, nope. You heard it.
She's like, I'm grown. That's my
Okay.
name. That's my name. Princess, I'm having you today on the show because you actually are my client, and you work for LA County. You are a mental health advocate, and you also are a marriage and family therapist.
Correct.
Right. So congratulations. Good for you.
Thank you.
I want our listeners to know, how old are you?
30-something.
30. Okay, you're not gonna put you're not gonna put it out there, girl. Okay, she's 30-something, and the reason why
Looks 20, maybe.
She
19
looks-
to 20.
she looks like she's 18,
Edward.
19 years old. She's
Yeah.
a baby cake.
Braces and all.
And with braces.
Honestly.
So I was like, if I go to you for my problems, I'll be like, you know what I'm talking about?
Like,
You guys
what
are
kind
too
of
much.
life experience
Thank
you
you.
had?
What kind of life experience? What kind of struggles? Well, we're actually going to get to know Miss Princess because she's had some life struggles.
Don't judge a princess by her cover.
Okay? Because
Don't,
Princess,
please don't.
Your personal background when I was interviewing you for the show,
Yes.
and getting to know you, it was not easy. You
Really?
are a product of the system. You were in foster care, and you had it rough. What made it, we're gonna get personal if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Where was your mother? Where were your parents? Your biological, I should say.
So this is going to be pretty interesting. So at around 3, I was given custody to my father.
Okay.
And then I was raised with him till about 9, and then kidnapped by my mother.
Wait a minute. No, I didn't hear this part.
You
when I
heard it
interviewed
right? Yeah.
When I didn't hear this part when I interviewed you. You were raised by your mother
I had to
until
have
the age
some
of 3.
surprise for you.
Huh?
I had to have something surprising for
You
you.
sure did. Oh my goodness. You were raised with your mother by the age of 3. Your mom gives you to your biological father.
Well, it was court ordered. So my father got custody of me through the courts.
Okay. Okay. May I ask what happened to your mom? Why did your mom why couldn't your mom raise you?
I wasn't sure around that age. I just remember, courtroom. Then I moved with my dad.
You remember being in a courtroom at 3 years old?
It was just like big. I just remember like a big
room.
big hall. My aunt, my grandmother, my
At 3.
paternal at 3.
Wow.
That's just kind of all I remember. And then I just lived with dad after that.
Court ordered living with your father from 3 to
About 8.5.
8.5. And then your mother literally went to the house and kidnapped you?
So as a little girl, you always want your mother. So I used to beg to see my mom. So I had a stepmom who wasn't very friendly. So it's kind of like the Cinderella story.
Okay.
And I used to beg to see my dad all the time. I mean, my mom all the time. And I guess him not knowing how to explain to a young kid, like, why your mother can't have you, why you can't see your mother. He was, his method was just to, like, kind of brush it off, ignore it, don't answer the questions. So eventually I came down, because we lived up north in Fairfield. Came down for Easter, I believe this was back then. Easter was a week before my birthday or a week after. And I begged my aunt to beg my dad to take me to my mom. So she took me. And then from there, I was supposed to stay for about a week. And I think we just moved.
Your mom took you
Just took me, didn't
took
tell
you,
anyone.
and never returned you back to your
I
father.
never returned.
Did your father call the police?
I'm not sure how that all went down, but my grandmother once reunited at like 14. She told me she found
At
me.
14, wait a minute. We jumped from 8.5 to age 14.
It took first they had it. So, okay. First of all, my mom changed my last name, so they couldn't find me. But my grandmother said that she had found me. She found me at the school, but was unable to get me because she wasn't on the emergency cards. So she named the school and everything. I was like, wow, you're right there. I probably was at school.
What?
And she couldn't get me.
Where
So, yeah.
was your dad then for the last 8 years?
He was, so I was angry, right? Okay, so this is all like God and healing and time. So in the process, I was angry. Of course, my mother, told me the negative things about my father and kind of helped build that hate and anger.
I'm sure.
So he was just absent. And, if he wanted you, he would come get you.
Well, why didn't he come and get you?
But he couldn't find me, and then the system didn't know where he was at first. My grandmother just did her own mission to find me.
Wow.
Yeah, so the system, because again, my name was changed.
So was it your mom's mom or your dad's mom?
My dad's mom.
Your dad's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, I think around 16, they located my father.
Okay.
And then I had chose by that age to stay in the system.
So you were living in foster care because your mom was obviously unfit to raise you.
Mm-hmm.
Was she arrested for that?
She had me, and so I have a different story. So I got into foster care at around the age 14.
Okay.
She had kidnapped me, and I lived with her for a while before we officially went into foster care. And what I mean by that is we had social workers in and out of the home, coming to check in, drop-ins, and things like that.
Okay.
And then so I, being the oldest, we went in officially when I was 14.
Who's we?
My siblings. So there's myself and 5 younger siblings.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. And then we were all split up.
I have a question.
Yes.
Were those visits, were they announced? So your mom was on her best behavior?
Most of them were.
They
so
were.
That, clean up, behave, don't tell anybody anything, the whole gamut,
She coached you.
Coaching.
Coached you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Coach you to tell you what to say to the social
What to
worker.
say, what not to say.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why the system is, probably why you're working in the system too.
It's partly the reason why it kind of, I would say, fell in my lap. And, God knew where to put me. It's been kind of my saving grace. I have a whole different story for foster care. I've had a excellent experience, not excellent in the sense, but I have taken advantage of all of the services from housing to stipends for college. My beginning years of college were paid for, So I like to be an advocate for young people coming out of the system because, sometimes they don't have a good social worker or a knowledgeable social worker or one that really cares enough. And I had a couple of good ones.
So 5 children raised. What was you were the oldest out of all 5 children? What was the age now of your youngest sibling?
My youngest sibling now is 27.
Okay. Are you close with all your sisters and brothers, or is it a difficult relationship? Because
it's
you guys
complicated because we were definitely split up. The older 3, we're all half siblings. So the older 3 of us.
Your mom did your mother have all 5 children by 5 different men?
No, it's 4 fathers.
Whew. God, how do you keep up?
So there's the first 3 have different fathers, and the last 3 all have the same father.
And she ran with 5 children.
6.
6 children.
Mm-hmm. And and a part of her run though was the last 3's father was abusive. So, and that's kind of how she got me to go. She actually asked me. She said, "Hey, you may never see me again." And remember, I hadn't seen her for years because my father kind of probably was afraid to send me and didn't know what I would experience. So she asked, "Hey, you'll never see me again." And she just took off. And it's so funny to this day because my dad used to play these games with me where he would teach me to read the street signs and how to get home. And I had this backpack. It was a Dr. Seuss backpack. The primary colors, it was like red, green, and blue, yellow. And he had all of my numbers in that backpack. And I used to just whatever, forget that backpack. Why does he always make me take it? But soon as I left that apartment, after she asked me that question, I looked for that backpack and never could find it. So it was like, dang, because there's something in him that knew. And I'm kind of hypervigilant with my kids now. I do similar things, remember all these numbers and things like that. Because now, we don't have phone books or anything. So it's like, you guys have to have to memory certain numbers.
If you don't, you got to have it on a phone. And
Right.
So what impact do you have now? Well, let me backtrack now. After you got older, you became a young woman of 18. Now you're not in the system. What happens after that time? Because I don't know if you're still considered a system child, even though you're a young adult. What happens after 18? Do you still get some sort of assistance from the government?
It depends on your system, your support system, your independent living coordinator. And I'm also talking from my time in the system. Things have changed a little bit. But when I was coming out of the system, it was up to age 25 22,
Oh.
you could stay and get services, and that would be from anywhere from transitional housing. So they may place you in an apartment or something, or maybe a 2-bedroom, and you share with another foster kid, and you share and it's supposed to teach you. You pay partial rent, and they teach you, responsibility.
You were working and you were going to school?
I was going to school and working, but I ended up becoming homeless some kind of way. But not necessarily homeless, like I, couch surfed and whatnot. But I would work at the college during time I wasn't in class, and then I would go to, I began to work in the evenings at the college too.
Okay.
So I was just working in school.
So when you say
day.
couch surfing, you were staying at a friend's house?
Like friends' houses.
You didn't have a permanent residence?
They didn't have a permanent residence.
For how long?
Till I was about 19, and then I kind of, my sister begged her foster parents to let me come live with her.
Okay.
And I was like, no, because she and I have issues where she's a little jealous of like just, I don't know, I knew my dad kind of thing. She didn't know her father. Little stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wanted her to have her family.
Your siblings, were their fathers, well, besides that sibling, obviously the fathers were present. Were the other fathers present in your siblings' lives? Lives?
My younger brother right under me. I don't know where his father was, but the 3 younger ones, their father was my abuser. So he ended up in jail.
Physical abuse and sexual abuse?
Sexual, physical.
I'm sorry.
He was abusive to my mother. So when we go back, when she kidnapped me, because now I'm older, again, healing and working in the field, I see where she was trying to get away and probably wanting all her children together, and hoping maybe for the best and new opportunities. And
the way she did it just wasn't,
legal. It wasn't legal.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, maybe my father would have helped her, I don't know. But being afraid, who knows?
What are your feelings when we're talking about this night right now? What is it? What are you feeling right now? Do you feel, when you think about those times when you were 18, 19, 20, 21 growing up, and your mother wasn't present for you, you didn't have a true parent figure, how did that prepare you to be a young woman of the world?
I mean, just life always prepares you in its own way. And honestly, my thought process is not necessarily, I don't take the negative in things. So what drove me was to learn from my mother's mistakes. My mother was a good person. She had ambition. She tried to get careers. She was a truck driver, a corrections officer. Wow. All these great things, but her issue was never following through, never getting the license.
She didn't finish what she started.
Never finishing what she started. So that's what drove me to continue. I hate school. And we'll get into that later, but I'm still in school.
You sure are.
And it's like I have to finish. So instead of saying, oh, woe is me, my mom did what she could with what she had, and I think each generation should get better. Mm-hmm. And it's a choice.
So when did you start going to school what was your degree? Was it psychology?
My first major was child development. First of all, I hated school. So I was trying to find the easiest thing to do, and I thought child development would be it.
Easy.
And I got in there, and it was kind of like an intern time where you were going over and working in the child care facility that was on campus. And I just remember it being so cold in the child care room, and the kids just always on and snotty-nosed. Ugh. And then what really got me was at lunchtime, the actual teacher, because I would be the assistant, right? So the teacher would go and, like, I don't know, take a nap maybe, grade some papers or something, I don't know. And I'm like, man, I'm cold, and I'm sitting here watching these kids sleep, and I'm like, that ain't fair. I don't think that's for me. Because you can't go to sleep. You have to watch them, make sure they're breathing, make sure, maybe they have to use a restroom or something. Pants. Yes. So I learned quickly that wasn't
for peanut
allergy
Ryan.
or it's in the air.
Or milk allergy, dairy allergy.
So I learned pretty quickly that that's not what I did not want to do. And then it just came, because school was not natural for me.
Me either.
It was when I was with my father. So, and that's the other thing I think that was great. It was my foundation was with my father. Because, I mean, my father, taught me to ride bikes, taught me to swim, taught me, hiking trips and camping and just going outside of the box. So I had that little bit of hope. in my story, I think there was something positive for me to hold on to. And but he used to like school me. He and I would like wake up, slobber on our face in my math books like at 2 a.m. because he would sit up with me and like be really involved. So, but when I moved with my mom or was taken by my mom, I became the second mother.
This is where I don't understand. If your father was so involved in your life when you were your pre-teenagers, did he try to find you? Was he after you? Was he searching for his daughter?
That was always my question, and I was like always felt empty about it for a long time, and I was like, I had so much pent up anger.
Of course you would. I would be pissed too.
And I finally spoke to my aunt first, and she was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit you down and talk to you. Because I kept wondering, and I think my dad, for a period, was avoiding it. And I think what he was avoiding most was the sexual molestation that he didn't or was not able to protect me from. And as I kind of got to talk to him, it actually was around that and feeling guilty for not being able to protect me from that. And then I think his guilt of knowing he really didn't want to send me. And there was he didn't want to visit my mother and give me the permission to visit, because that's when I got taken, is when I went on that visit
so
that
the
he
overall
permitted.
Guilt was just killing him.
Right. So he permitted the visit and she took me.
And inadvertently he abandoned you too, if he's not searching for his daughter.
Well, he did search. He and my grandmother were searching together, but he lived way up north. And he had my stepmother and my brother, and then another daughter had came. So it was just really complicated, I think. And also my stepmother's family is really affluent and like, hey, you need to take care of my daughter. And so I'm just thinking from the other side, like, yes, I was a hurt child and everything, but just when life is happening and when adults have to adult, they have to adult. You can't just leave and go on searches. Do you have
a relationship with your father now?
I do. My father.
You and your father talk, and you have a relationship.
I have a relationship with all of my parents. So all my foster parents that were
That's
good.
fantastic.
All of my.
How many parents do you have?
Ooh, let's see. The canisters, and then Miss Glenda. She passed, but I'm very close with her daughter and her sister. I've lived with them at times, and I go over there for holidays. We'll probably go, if anything. My kids used to usually go trick-or-treating with them. But, so yeah, and then I have my mom and my biological dad.
Wow.
So
that's good.
There's no resentment. It seems like you just were like, this is what I was dealt. I'm going to run with it and make the best of it.
And that's been my motto. It's like, have you seen Meet the Robinsons?
Is that the cartoon, right?
It's a cartoon, and that spoke to me. It was just like, keep moving forward, and that's what I've been doing, like my entire life, without hearing that slogan. Like, just keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward.
We're gonna take a quick break because I have more questions for Miss Princess Dommonique.
Oh, I'm in a food coma right now.
I am so stuffed.
Oh, me too.
Ma's Italian Kitchen, you did it again. Edward, what did you have for dinner tonight?
Oh, I had pasta primavera with peas and mushrooms and Alfredo sauce, girl.
Delicious. I had linguine, fresh chopped clams with garlic and pecorino cheese. Ah, it was so good.
Heavenly.
Ma's Italian Kitchen, you did it again. They can be reached at 818-567-2288 or order online at masitaliankitchen.com. Hunty.
Time for dessert.
We are going to travel back to your education, because I wanted to get more information about your dad. So child development wasn't your bag.
No, not at all.
You weren't digging it, and so after child development, you decided to change degrees.
Yes, I went ahead and went into sociology.
Okay.
And that's where kind of I've been. So I'm getting my bachelor's degree I got an AA in sociology, bachelor's degree in human services, and then went on to get my MFT in counseling.
Get it, girl.
Yeah.
So that's already 10 years of school right there. Someone who hates
probably
school.
more, because I probably messed up a lot of math classes and science classes.
I know. I'm horrible in math. I was definitely a C student in math. And we are proud to say you are now getting your doctorate
Yes.
work.
Yes. And
What is it?
It's a PsyD in psychology.
What?
So that was never in the cards for me.
Isn't that interesting? Insurance was never in the cards for me either. And
Okay.
my degree was in fashion design.
Okay.
So life changes, trust. I get it. You are going to become a doctor.
Yes, and I just think I woke up one day and said, "Why not?" I
But-
just went for it.
Let's also get into the point that you are a single mother with 4 children. I forgot to mention that a few minutes ago. You are a single African American woman living in Los Angeles with 4 children. How old are your kids?
So I have a 12-year-old who just made honor roll. I'm really excited about that.
Coming into her mom's stats, hey.
And I have 2 7-year-olds, boy-girl twins.
Oh, cute.
And then I have an 18-month-old
Whoa.
little
Whoa.
man.
Okay, let's get this. Let me paint a picture for you broads who are listening to this show. Princess is my client. She works for LA County, okay? So she has a 8-hour job, full-time job already.
An hour a day.
Yeah. You're
A day.
going to work to pay the bills. Then you go to school. How many days a week?
I go every other weekend, so that's helpful.
Okay, so you're doing a
So
accelerated
it's just
program.
full day.
Okay.
Full day.
Accelerated program, but you still have the work, the homework, the research, whatever the studying you need to do to get that degree.
And now
Then you
got
gotta
to
go home to 4.
Well, wait. I'm
What?
still in practicum.
What?
It's practicum season, so on
What's
certain
practicum season?
days. So that's when I'm earning my hours, my giving free money.
Oh,
or free work.
You're doing your
free
clinical
work.
hours for free. That's right, because you have to take, how many hours you have to get?
16 to 20 hours. So it's
A
pretty
week.
interesting.
So you're doing it's called practicum?
Yes.
Practicum, 16 to 20 hours a week for your clinical hours. Then you're also going to school every other weekend to get your degree, your doctorate. Then you are something called a mother.
Yes.
When do you get to pee, eat, and sleep?
Well, I typically eat at work sometimes.
Okay.
No, but I eat when they eat and sleep when they sleep, or sometimes make them sleep a little more when I'm still sleeping. But
Do you have assistance in raising your children?
right now, my sister has stepped up and helped. She's helping a lot.
Is this the sister that we just talked about? We weren't getting along. Now you're getting along better?
Getting along better. It's just things have happened where it's like I think it's that time for us to kind of begin to mend that bond and work together, and it's been working well so far.
No assistance from your mother?
She's around, but she's definitely not a grandmother.
She's not a grandmother. Well, we know that she's not really was the mother.
She has her life,
She wants to be single?
No, she's
she
not going to
single?
be tied. She has friends.
She's very friendly with
But
the men, obviously.
she still works. She still works. So
Okay.
she's a longshoreman, and she
Oh,
she has a crazy schedule,
okay.
and she's just really not. That's not her.
She's
thing.
not the motherly type.
Yeah.
And so
She'll come and take them out, like to Disneyland or something.
Okay.
Or
she's doing that.
but she's not gonna
She's
spend the
not
whole day,
she's not
change diapers.
She's not a babysitter. She's
No.
not the grandmother that you and I or Edward are used to.
No,
you know?
not at all.
Come on, kids, let me tell you a story. I'm used
And
to that
she
kind
can
of
only take a
grandmother.
couple at a time.
Oh,
She knows her
not for.
limits. So
How has that mirrored your way of mothering your children? From what you've learned and experienced from your parents, in and out of foster care, being raised by different characters and different personalities, how are you implementing a stable, loving relationship with 4 children? You were a single mother. There was no father figure involved, or I don't know. Is there
not
any?
actively, not
Actively.
here
Just they
in
were the sperm
presence.
givers at this time.
Well, they help out. They're not act like every day. They're not in it.
Okay.
So if I say okay, school close time, they'll come get school clothes. Weekends here and there.
Okay. Okay.
So
So how are you being the mother that you need to be?
schedule. I gotta stick to a schedule. So
Okay.
I get up probably 4, get them going, and get hair done, brush teeth, all that, and get them off to school by 5:30. Have to leave by 5:30. If I leave a few minutes late, then we're late.
Okay.
So 5:30, get him over to school, and then daycare takes over, and then takes him to school.
When
Or
are
get him to
you-
daycare, then daycare takes
My
him to
question
school.
is, when are you a mother? When are you loving up the children? When are you having some
Oh,
quality time?
Definitely
for your
like dinner
children?
times and in the morning. So when we get up in the morning, we definitely pray. We talk about our aspirations for the day. How are we gonna combat anything that they told me about the night before, whether it's like maybe bullying or a disagreement at school or a test they're worried about. I call and check in. All
You
through
have
the
a
day.
you have a preteen now. You said you have a 12-year-old daughter,
Yes,
and she's becoming a young woman.
she
She's
is.
discovering her body.
Mhm.
She's discovering things about probably liking boys.
Yes.
Thinking about sex, or I'm sure her friends are talking about sex. The kids are growing up faster than you and me and Edward, have ever experienced in our entire life. I was naive. I was still a naive 16, 17-year-old when I was a teenager. And now these kids learn more about sex than ever when they're in their 10s and 11s and 12-year-olds. What are the principles or the merits that you're teaching your 12-year-old daughter when you are, a good part of the life, unfortunately, even my mom and dad were spent at work. So we had actually, we didn't have our mornings. My mom used to work at we lived in Metro Cucamonga. And my mom, during my high school years and my preteens, worked at Boeing, what's the one other, starts with an N?
Northrop Grumman.
Northrop. And so she'd be up at 3:30 in the morning, get on the bus, the shuttle at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we wouldn't see her until like 5 in the evening. So we didn't have mommy and daughter time in the morning when I was growing up that I remember. My dad worked at home, so I was closer to my father, and I also resented my mother at that time too. So I have resentment too, and it wasn't her fault. She had to work.
Right.
My mom had to work. We didn't really have a lot of bonding time with my mother, and I think a lot of mothers and daughters don't get along. Period. Me and my mom to this day butt heads. She's 79, and I'm 78, 79, and I'm 47. We still butt heads. We always will butt heads. Do you and your daughter get along? Do you feel that she's is on the path of righteousness? As a 12-year-old daughter living in LA, and she has all these distractions.
She's doing pretty good so far. I'm definitely a nosy mother. She doesn't own her phone. She doesn't own her phone. Her phone is mine.
As it should be.
And it's open.
Of course.
Like she knows it. I'm checking her phone every
Good for
other
you.
day.
Good for you.
And then I also, when I check it, I'm not just going to take it. I go through and even, because a lot of times I notice, and I'm noticing, that it's like her friends bringing up, oh, this boy. I teach her how to is that all you guys talk about? Come up with
12.
another discussion, hair or something.
Either it's music or someone on TV
Right.
or now YouTube, or it's boys.
I just
Or
kind of
makeup.
coach her. I coach her you guys got to talk about, have some more depth. Do something else. Talk about, I don't know.
Well, what did you talk about when you were 12 years old?
I don't know. I had a different life.
Yeah. But what did you talk about when you were 12 years old?
I talked about my thing. I kind of was the mom. I was
you
worried
had to
about
be.
cooking and,
Oh,
I
so
didn't
were
have a lot of
surviving.
free time. I was
You
worried
were
about getting
surviving.
home to cook so I didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Making sure their homework was done. I was there. So that's kind of where my grades kind of, and my study habits and skills fell to the wayside is when I became, my responsibility was to make sure the house ran.
So the plates have turned. Now you're a true mommy, and you have an A honor student, 12 years old. How are the twins in school?
My girl twin, she is stellar. She's like anything you teach her. I mean, I put her on the ice one day because living up north in Fairfield, we went ice skating. We didn't go to roller skating. So I think we had a birthday party on the ice skating ring, and she was 4 at the time. And they gave them the little walkers with the tennis balls on it so they wouldn't fall. She would throw that thing away from her and just run in circles around the coach. The coach was so nervous, oh no, don't let this kid fall. She doesn't have a helmet on. I could just see the fear in the coach's face. And she's so...
she acclimated to it real
acclimated. She just picks up everything.
She's a natural.
And then
She's
what
a
about
natural at everything.
the boy twin?
He's, I want to say, a typical boy. He's chill.
They're polar opposites,
Yeah.
right, Mom?
Polar opposites. He speaks when he wants to. You might think he's mute sometimes because he's just observant. He watches everything. So I think when they grow, because they don't like each other right now.
Of course.
But I think when they grow to like each other, I think he's definitely going to be her protector and just watching what's going on.
I'm sure he
because
will
she's on all the time.
Of course.
But girls are usually the protector too, like in the beginning.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
But
definitely
boys are
so.
also, they mature a lot later than we do. Let's be honest.
Yep, I do. You guys are 10 years ahead of us easily
Edward?
at all times.
So let's talk about, you are a marriage and family therapist.
Yes.
And mental health, honey, has been on everybody's minds for years and years and years. Mental health is finally getting out of that stigma box where people are talking about depression, mental health symptoms and issues, and talking about that they had it in their family. That it has been historically documented that mental health can be, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? You are
Inherited.
Inherited.
Not inherited. No, the word is genetic.
genetic. Yeah,
Yes.
genetically, and it's really interesting. I'm going to talk about my parents real quick because my dad now officially has Alzheimer's, and my mom has pre-dementia, and she has severe short-term memory loss. And I'm thinking, good God, is that going to happen to me? It's just me and my brother. I don't have any children. And I have other family members who also have mental issues as well. Schizophrenia, paranoia, loss of memory, for whatever reason. What are your feelings on inherited mental illness? Is that a myth or is that a real thing?
It's and as I'm learning and growing in the field, I'm learning that more personality traits, so your schizophrenia and things that deal with memory and the mind, just kind of wandering, and audio and visual hallucinations, those things are typically what I'm finding to be more genetic. Depression, it just depends, because sometimes depression can be situational.
What's
and
that
it'll
mean?
live. Like,
You lost
like
your
right now
job
we
and
have
I'm depressed.
you lost your job
Okay.
and I'm depressed, or the fire is going on right now up north and maybe burned down my whole front yard or something, or my car is gone.
Okay.
And then you're depressed until you kind of find a way to fix it, and then you get back in the game and you're okay. Other times depression is a lifelong thing, and you get to where you're having more severe levels of depression where you're just like stuck and can't get out of bed, won't change, won't bathe, things like that. So
Okay. Which could also lead to suicidal thoughts.
suicidal thoughts,
Hurting
suicide
yourself or
attempts,
hurting other people.
self-harm, homicidal ideation, yeah.
When we did our pre-interview a couple days ago, we were talking about or misdiagnosing patients and over medication.
Yes.
Speak on that.
To me, I just find we are professionals, but again, we are human. So, and then a lot of times, sometimes it's a fine line between the diagnoses and the business part of it, and then you're looking at a lot of younger kids being diagnosed, like with hyper ADHD, just because they're kind of really active.
So we're adults, though. Apparently, the mental field has gotten rid of the D. It's everybody has ADHD. There's no
so it was
ADD
ADD
anymore.
was the old term. So now
Yeah.
it's
So
like
what happened to
AD.
the ADD?
It's the same thing. It's just a new term.
Okay.
New term.
So everybody's hyper. Everybody's hyper. Everybody has a deficiency of attention.
I mean, and that's what I'm finding, and even on down to like autism.
Wow.
Autism seems to be a highly diagnosed.
But autism is a behavioral.
it's
disorder.
behavioral. It is, but it's also something that has to be diagnosed.
That's true.
So I'm finding that it's a common one amongst especially young kids a lot, and then the medications for those diagnoses are pretty heavy when your brain is still developing. So that's been something I'm interested in studying more and finding more answers to,
So you're
or
trying.
methods.
So after you get your doctorate, you want to focus on a practice, or you want to focus on more of the behavioral aspects of the medicine, or you want to focus on ADHD patients? Exactly what is it that you think that is needed?
Well, there's a need everywhere. I mean, mental health is growing and people are becoming more aware, coming out of, the stigmas and being afraid to
Admit it.
come and admit it, get the help. Then you have the next step is to where you're making it feel comfortable for them to take the medications, and then they're worried they're going to be addicted to it,
Right.
or all these things that they
Right.
have to face.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my thing is I just want to help people, and I'm definitely I would definitely love to go in depth and study everything as much as I can. I'm really, remember I said earlier, I'm like, I don't like school, but I'm really fascinated
How
with
you become a
mental
career
health.
student.
I am definitely a career student. But I'm really interested in just, finding just the core.
Do you want to work with more adults or children?
I think
Or
my passion,
preteens or
my passion is youth,
okay.
youth age. I think it kind of stuck with me. I was an outreach advisor for young people in the foster care system when I was younger, and it was just kind of like what I think I'm just kind of good at it.
So let's picture a young Princess Coleman coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the system. She's angry. She's confused. How would you approach her? How would you talk to her? How would you counsel her if she comes to you? You have your own practice,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a young girl that was mirroring your life 20 years ago. How do you talk to someone like that, in your opinion?
For me, I'm definitely gonna have to build rapport because I'm kind of raw and real. I just tell people like it is, and my biggest thing for me is just you got to find a way to get unstuck, get out of your head, because if you allow yourself to see the opportunity is there. You just have to see it. Stop looking at all the hardships, everything that's wrong in the situation, because foster care for me, because I was able to find the opportunity within it, became my biggest tool, my biggest asset.
Mm-hmm.
I've traveled due to foster care because I was always in the right place at the right time. I stuck under my mentors, the social workers, during summertime, and then all my jobs were working within the system.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of meant for me to kind of go in this field, I think. But yeah, so if you choose to make a change, if you're ready to do the work and just kind of create your own path.
It's kind of hard to say, 12-year-old, are you ready to make that work? But if you came from a place where you had to survive, you're cooking for your kids, you're making sure, not your kids, your siblings at that time, you were the leader. You were the mama.
Right.
You were the mama figure.
So that's kind of where it goes, because you point out to me all the things that you've already survived.
Right.
What you've gone through, maybe possibly beatings, possibly sexual molestation, possibly re-abuse in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've gone through that, why are you stopping here?
That's true.
So you got to find the way out.
Do you think you were lucky with the foster care parents that you had? Because you could have had some, or did you have some rotten ones?
I had some rotten ones. So
You
I
had
went
some rotten ones.
through a few homes, but I had a good social worker.
Oh, that totally matters.
So when I would say, I think I had one family where I felt that the father was sketchy, and I was like, I'm not about to be sexually abused again, and in foster care, and I told myself those things, and I was like, hey, but see, everyone doesn't have that opportunity. I would call my social worker and tell her, I'm giving these parents a 7-day notice.
Do these kids
this doesn't
know
seem safe
to contact their social worker?
And that's the other thing. It's all about knowledge. And so I had it was called then an independent living coordinator, because came in as a teenager. See, and I already had my thought process and mindset. So if let's say you go back to a kid who's constantly abused and used to abuse over and over and over again, and not taught to speak up or taught to advocate for themselves, they're not going to know what to do, what questions to ask, who to trust, who else.
They're beaten down.
Right.
They're beaten down mentally, emotionally, and physically.
And I think I would have to say that my time with my dad, those few years, that foundation of normalcy, I think is what helps me as well. Because I knew what normalcy looked like, in a sense.
You know it's reachable and
you know it's
attainable.
reachable. So I will have, if I can be honest, I think that's, if you have something to already hold on to, you have something to kind of move forward
Good
to.
for you. Good for you.
Can we jump back and talk a little bit more about depression? Because I have
Oh, yeah.
a story
Please.
to share.
Please,
when
please.
you were on vacation, actually.
Oh, okay.
A friend of mine that I grew up with. Well, we went to school for 3 or 4 years together, and he moved away like in the 8th grade. I grew up in a very small town in Texas, and so everybody knows each other there. And this guy moved away. His dad was our band director, and his mother was my teacher, 4th grade English teacher, and they were just amazing people, and I still respect them to this day. Well, their son, I learned that while you were on vacation, and was a friend of mine, he passed away because he was severely mentally ill, and I'm assuming, depression and all of this. And I don't know that I don't know if he, I'm assuming
he
he committed suicide, but no one ever said, but I'm assuming that was the case. So, and it was just, it really affected me. I mean, to the core. There's something about a childhood bond that you have with these kids that you grow up with that just is unlike any relationship that I've been able to experience in my adulthood. And learning about it, it just took my breath away. And he was straight A student, the best musician, like the most popular. He had it, quote unquote, all.
Right.
And
On paper.
Very accomplished. And my other childhood friend Lisa, that that is a big fan of the show, Lisa McCafferty.
Oh, yes.
I called her. She lives in New Orleans. I called her that evening, and I texted her. I was like, "Do you remember?" I don't want to say his name, And she's like, "Of course." And then I just called her, and I was like, "This is what happened. He passed away." And she said something to me that just really hit home. And she says, "Well, Devin, depression does not have a face.
No.
It doesn't.
Doesn't have a face. It doesn't have timing.
Yeah. It just really that his passing, really is still with me. But that comment she said was really struck a chord because we don't know what people are going through.
No, we don't unless we ask. And that's the scary thing. Like one of my clients' father committed suicide a few months ago, and she's been off work dealing with that herself. She's taken off a mental ill medical leave from work, and I'm her agent, and so I had to help her with her claim. And this is also horrible. Her brother committed suicide. So you have your father who commits suicide, then your brother commits suicide, and now she's like thinking she's next because they obviously were mentally ill. She didn't know that her father was this way because, and we're going to talk about it real quick. Let's lead on to it. Stigma in the cultural society. Right. The Hispanic Latin community, the Black, the African American community, a lot of worldwide communities don't believe in going to a therapist, don't believe in going to a psychologist, don't believe in going to a psychiatrist. It's that stigma of thinking you're crazy, because also our families were taught that you talk about it to your family. Right. But when you have a mother and father that don't talk about the feelings, then you're screwed. So she goes and says, I never knew my dad was depressed because he didn't come. He came to work and put food on the table, and that was his job. Brother kills himself because dad kills himself. Now she's thinking, oh my God, am I next? She's taken off 7 months to go through deep therapy, through meditation. She's feeling better now, but she's effed up.
I think what she's doing is wise, because I think it's not necessarily are you next, it's just look at the signs, learn from the past, learn from your family, begin to speak out, begin to ask for help. I actually had my bout with depression, and I believe my mother was depressed, but I had decided this a while back before I started school. She would stay in her room all the time and just kind of drink soda and
was she a drinker? Did she do drugs? Okay.
But I think she was addicted to caffeine. She would drink Pepsis. Like a chain drinker.
Okay.
And she wouldn't let us
she had to have that rush, the caffeine rush.
But she would stay in her room and just sleep a lot of the days. I'll have to come and feed her, knock on the door, and give her food.
Wow.
And so as I started learning and going to school, I was like, oh, she was depressed. That seemed like she was depressed. And I chalked it up to her having so many children back to back, because you get the postpartum depression, and she's not letting her mind and her body heal. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do that differently. Da da da. I have my daughter at 24, and I got really depressed. I don't
Did
think
you
it was
have postpartum?
severe. I don't even want to call it postpartum. I think I had always probably been depressed, because I told you I stayed busy.
Right.
I had my child and I had to sit still.
Right.
I had to think about being a mother, not becoming my mother. Will I become my mother? Am I going to meet someone that's going to hurt her? All these real feelings came rushing that I had probably ignored and just, school, work, school, work, school, work, school, work. So just having to sit down, I think, is what caused my depression. It just is the timing. It seems like you can give it to postpartum depression. Right. It's just, again, learning. And I think that's why I keep my mother close now. She's cool and all, but I think learning your history. Learning your history, you need to know these things.
Yeah. And you're so young, you still have lots of time to get to know your mother and talk to her.
Yeah.
She knows you were angry at the time. Did you guys have that conversation?
We're gonna have to get us a therapist.
Yeah, okay. So you have to be in a room. You have to have an arbitrator.
We would need that, I think, to have a real authentic talk and someone to kind of narrate, because then she gets emotional and feels into like, oh, you hate me, but it's just, I just want answers. I just want to know.
Absolutely, you deserve answers.
And in time,
she needs to confront those answers.
Exactly.
As much as she's probably, your mother was guilty. She felt guilty about how she raised you as well. Mother, I'm not a mother, but I completely understand feeling guilty when you feel like there was a neglect.
Right.
Let's take a quick break, and we're going to get back into what's next for Miss Princess.
All right.
Queen ShanShan, did you get a new wig?
No.
Did you get a new shirt?
No.
Did you get a new necklace?
No.
Something is different with you.
Well, I just got my teeth whitened and brightened at Exquisite Dentistry here in Los Angeles.
Fabulous.
They do such great work, and I love them because they know that I'm a dental chicken. I'm afraid of needles, and they put me at calm and at ease the minute I arrive in their beautiful, gorgeous spa dental office.
They are simply superb.
Thank you so much. You know what? And Edward, dear Edward, you can get the same service too by calling them for an appointment at 323-484-7645 or make an appointment online at exquisitedentistryla.com.
That's bloody brilliant.
And remember, tell them Queen ShanShan sent you. Hunty.
Not only am I speaking to the next future doctor, okay, in psychology, right?
Yes.
And marriage family therapy, but you also want to become a public speaker, right?
Yes, I've actually had some opportunity in my past.
Yeah, we talked about you traveled actually the world. Where have you been?
To Prague and New Zealand.
Okay.
So I was part of this program called International Foster Care Organization when I was younger, before I had my children. And they would get together and do a conference in other countries where all the providers from all over the world would come. Some foster kids, children from orphanages came to the Auckland trip.
That's awesome.
And we would speak on our services in each country, and then it got so real because our country, it's different from Washington to California.
Of course.
So, like in Washington, I think kids would be emancipated out at 18, where in California, we still would get the services till about 24 at that time. Okay. So, it was really a great experience. That's where I got my first opportunities to speak. It was just an honor and a great feeling. So that's something I definitely in the future would love to take more seriously.
So you want to do speaking engagements. Obviously, you need to take courses on that and stuff like that. And you want to speak as a doctor. You want to speak or on the way to being a doctor as well. What is it? What is the message that you want to convey?
I just want to convey positivity. Keep going towards that goal. Don't quit. And also just kind of pull in the mental health piece, because I know it gets hard. People want to stop. It's overwhelming. And there's always a way. And I'm talking from having 4 children, and having a make away. Sometimes you just got to create things and make it and just do it.
I think your story is inspiring because I do know personal friends who feel defeated. They feel that, oh, I'm working 8 hours a day. How am I going to go to school? Well, let me tell you what. If my mother at that time, who was 68, she got her master's at 68 years old.
Wow.
My mom didn't know how to do an email. She didn't know how to attach a document to an email, but she had to learn. And she was with a bunch of 20-year-old, 22-year-olds who knew a lot more than she did, but she had to do it, and she got it through. It was a tough 4 years for my mother, but she got it through. So I always respect men and women who go back to college, just like with you, Edward. You said you weren't a fan of school either, but you got your business degree at Syracuse. That's huge. That was a huge accomplishment. And for those who say they can't do that, yes, they can. It does take sacrifice. Right now, you being a mother, you are sacrificing that extra time you can spend with your children. But you know, in the long run, you see the prize. You have your eye on the prize, right? And your children are taking note. Let's be honest; they are seeing what Mama is doing for them.
And that's been my saving grace because I'm like, okay, they're watching.
Absolutely.
You know, kids usually do what
They're
they
resilient
see you
and they're
do.
observant.
They do what they see you do.
Hello?
Most of the time, and I'm hoping that's going to be. I'm just
Mama
gonna put it in
role
the air.
model.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the
Absolutely.
air. That's what's going to happen.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Going to speak it.
Absolutely. So we are going to see you on that stage at the TED Talks or whatever, at some Geneva Summit or whatever. So we're going to see you on something.
I receive
We're going to
it.
put that. You're going to please receive it because we're manifesting that for you.
Thank you.
Best of luck for sure.
Thank you so
We really
much.
appreciate you being on the show today. And this is a teaching moment for everybody because you come from a place where a lot of people are at to this day. So this is encouraging that you're here on my microphones. Edward is sharing his feelings. I'm sharing your
Yes.
feelings. This is a teachable moment. This is like, you know, what Oprah always says, this is an aha moment for all of us. So we appreciate you battling the streets of LA, getting here. We had a
Hey.
nice dinner before we started the show. You feel
I
good?
appreciate that. Yes, thank you
Okay.
so much.
So thank you so much, Miss Princess. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. If you or a loved one is feeling distressed, please remember help is available through the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. It provides free and confidential emotional support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can also call a loved one, member of the clergy, or 911. Edward just gave me some serious side eye right now in this segment because it's called Booked and Busy, honey. Yes, we are booked and busy. I always book my trips a year in advance because I want to make sure I have the money.
Right.
And I want to make sure I have the time. And I also want to have goals. I definitely want to have personal travel goals, personal financial goals. And to reach that, I have to, you know, see the light. So I've just booked my deposit. I haven't booked the whole trip yet. But I just put a deposit on a Canadian road trip. And this is with a company I've been traveling with. I travel with a company called Singles in Paradise. You should look into it, Princess.
Okay.
And it's not just for single people. Anybody can go. You know, married couples, LGBTQ is definitely welcome. Anybody who wants to travel can go. It's just called Singles in Paradise, but it's a very good travel group. It has all ages. And so I booked Canada, I booked Bali, and I booked Croatia
Okay.
for 2020. Just put a $200 deposit. Like I said, I didn't pay for the trip yet, so I got to pay on time because I got to work for it. But those are my manifestations for 2020. So what is on your personal bucket list of travel? You said you're already been to Prague. You've been to New Zealand
And
and
Tahiti.
Australia.
No,
You want to go. Okay.
Prague, Tahiti, and New Zealand.
Okay, so but
And
you want to go where?
I want to go to Australia.
Yes.
Probably Sydney 1st. Try it out. Just the water just looks like something I need
It's
to touch.
beautiful down there.
You know.
I stayed a month in 2016. We went right when it started getting cold. So that was like May. So, you know, obviously we're opposites.
Right.
It's our spring. It's they're close to their winter. But it was still amazing. We were in Sydney, went to Cairns. We did most of the eastern side of Australia. I yet to go to Melbourne, and I haven't been to Perth.
Okay.
So I'd like to go there. But the Australians are so welcoming and so friendly, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's its own continent.
Right.
And then we stayed time in New Zealand, which which was like I said, you've been there. It
I
was
love
superb.
New Zealand. They were so. They were so friendly. It was kind of scary.
Yeah,
because you're not used to like
Kiwis.
even talking to your neighbors out here. But I mean, my cab driver wanted to take us to dinner every night.
Yes.
She got us in the car. I
Australia,
was like,
New
should we
Zealand,
go?
It's a different world down there.
Mm-hmm.
They're so nice, and they love their music. I was telling you off mic that New Zealand is known to have the most radio stations in that country. They just love
Right.
music, period.
Mm-hmm.
They love different types of music. They're big on urban music, hip hop, R&B
Mm-hmm.
down there. It was when we went to all the stores or shopping, every store was hip hop or R&B
Mm-hmm.
or blasting something danceable. Just made you stay there because you wanted to spend more money because the vibe was so awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So I highly recommend Australia. It's amazing.
Okay.
What is your bucket list for 2020, Edward? Where do you want to go for 2020?
Back to Italy.
You want to go back?
Yeah.
Where in Italy this time?
Don't know yet, but I've had some a change of plans, a change of heart in my big birthday for next year. So
You're not going to want to do the one-man show?
I'm not doing it. It's too much. It's too much on me. Can't do it anymore.
Okay.
But I'll do something. I'll do more
Because
music.
you're going to be turning...
I'll do the more music in my life in the 50th year. But
You're going to be the big 5-0.
I'll be 50 in
So
April.
I hope I'm involved in that in
You'll-
some
I
way.
mean, I'm not going to celebrate. I'm not going on a trip until July because Danny's in school up until that point. So we're going to go like away for my birthday in July.
In the
So,
summertime.
Yeah.
Okay.
So something for my birthday we'll do in April. But yeah.
Do you think you're going to have a little party?
Yeah, I'll have a little party.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But
When's your birthday?
Italy in April 23rd.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm April 21st.
Oh my gosh, that's my sister's birthday.
Hey.
Okay.
Amazing.
We've got some Tauruses in
Some
the house.
Tauruses
Aries and
right
Taurus.
here.
That's why we all
Yeah.
get along here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Princesses and the Baron.
Amazing.
And the Queen.
Of course.
All right.
Well, thanks for sharing your aspirations on travel, Princess. So, Princess, as you know, I'm a huge makeup guru. Like, I love makeup, anything beautiful. As you can tell, right?
Yes,
Do you like makeup?
I do, but I just haven't explored it.
You're not really like a big, you just have the basic, like the mascara and the lipstick and everything.
I'm actually afraid of losing my eyesight, so I'm scared to put on
You're
eyeliner.
afraid of losing your eyesight.
I've been wearing glasses since I was 3, and I do not want to go blind. Like,
Makeup's gonna make you go blind.
I don't like poking my eye, or it's just I
What?
can't get it right.
You don't
So
wear mascara.
I will wear mascara, but having to put that pencil in my eye,
Well, you don't have to, honey. You know what? Let me have a little makeup sesh with you, and we can get some.
I
we
would
can go
love
out.
that.
Oh,
Actually,
That'd be
I'd
fun,
watch
huh?
that.
I
We
would
could totally
love
do a
that.
makeup sesh. Anyways, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because
Mm-hmm.
Jeffree Star, huge makeup mogul, and YouTube star Shane Dawson. If you don't, do you watch YouTube? I'm sure
Not
your
much.
kids know who Shane Dawson is.
They probably do.
He's very popular with the
Mm-hmm.
kiddos. He's known for his controversial conspiracy videos.
Okay.
He's known for mukbangs, eating videos.
Mm-hmm.
He's known for a lot of haunted, like he did ghost stories and ghost adventures before.
Okay.
He has a very big following, like over 14 million
Mm-hmm.
subscribers, and Jeffree Star has over 14 million subscribers. Anyways, they're millionaires. And they're good friends. And so this year, they started this series called The Beautiful World of Jeffree Star. And Jeffree Star is a multimillionaire collaborator of makeup, and he has his own line, and him and Shane are collaborating together. And the online world is at its feet. We cannot wait. I cannot wait. The upcoming collaboration eyeshadow palette is going to be called Conspiracy, which is pretty apropos for Sean Dawson. And there are some colors that have been leaked, that have been shown. Well, not leaked, I should say. Even Sean Dawson put online what the color story is supposed to look like. But it is rumored, it is forecasted by a lot of the business outlets that this is going to be literally the worldwide, like the biggest collaboration, the biggest moneymaker eyeshadow in all makeup history. They're expecting the first weekend to hit $35 million
Wow.
in eyeshadow palettes. Now, come on, 35 for eyeshadow palettes. Yes, the world has lost their mind that people love eyeshadow. Yes, you should see my drawer. My eyeshadow drawer is insane.
I don't
So can
understand
attest.
anything anymore at all.
What'd you say?
I don't understand anything anymore at all.
No, but I
I
do
really
have
The
friends.
world of beauty is
I am
something
just-
that is just it's just insane.
Yeah.
And now
It really
these
is.
YouTubers are involved, and
Yeah.
they're influencers. They have influenced the sales of makeup.
And that's
And-
the thing. It's like I'm interested in it, but it's also like budget wise.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You know.
Jeffree Star has a little bit of high end, like
Mm-hmm.
the giveaway I'm going to talk about right now, the palette that we're giving away. It is valued at $54.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I don't know what the price point is going to be on the new palette for Shane
Okay.
Dawson and Jeffree Star, but it's supposed to be affordable so that everybody can afford it. But it's just this iconic idea that you got someone, Shane Dawson, who was this middle of the road kid who loved videos, did some conspiracy videos, is now this multi-million-dollar man, and then Jeffree Star is this multi-million-dollar character as well, and they're collaborating, and the makeup world is shook. They're shook.
Can I throw some shade real quick?
What?
I just kind
Let
of
me
like.
get my fan. What?
It's not a Jeffree Star. It's probably his competitor or maybe
Who?
business partner or whatever they are. So one of the Kylie Jenner. Okay.
Kylie Jenner.
Kylie
yes.
Jenner.
Jeffree Star has thrown shade at her.
Oh, he has? Okay, so I don't know her or anything like that. So I'm just saying, like, okay, so they've say she's a billionaire and she's only 22.
Say she is. No, she is.
22. She can't be. I do not believe that for a minute that she's a billionaire.
Forbes says it
Her
is.
company might be worth $1 billion, valued at.
Valued at $1 billion.
Valued at.
Appraised at $1 billion.
But she's not a billionaire. Okay.
Even with
there's
the
a
Kardashian
distinct
money and the
difference.
shows and the
No.
merchandising.
No.
She's supposed to be richer than Kim.
Nope. I don't believe it for a minute. And when I watched this little 10-minute video of her showing off her, I don't know, her studio or makeup studio, wherever it is in Calabasas or somewhere, I was just like, oh my God. And I don't understand it. I just do not. She walks in, she's like, yeah, this is my lounge. Yeah, it's my lounge. And then she walks into her kitchen. Yeah, this is my kitchen. Yeah.
Like no personality.
Yeah. And then she walks into her boardroom. Yeah, this is where we have a boardroom
Like
thing.
no personality.
And yeah, and this is a color pink. Yeah, look, everything in pink in here. And everything is pink. Everything's pink. And I'm just like, I don't get it.
And
I
she's
don't
got millions of
understand it.
followers.
Oh,
millions of followers.
Kajillions of followers. And I'm sorry, you're gonna get some hate from this, and I'll take it all.
Thanks, Edward.
But I just
So serious.
just I am Shannon, and she'll send it to me, and
I'm gonna get some
I'll,
haters.
I'll deal back. But I just don't get it.
You know what? It's a falsity. Makeup is a falsity. I'm a falsity in terms of that. I mean, we all want to look beautiful. We want to feel beautiful. Makeup is that mask that we wear. And the last 10 years, the Kardashians and the J-Los and the Madonnas and the Britney Spears and the Paris Hiltons, they've cashed onto it, honey. Makeup is makeup. Makeup is that full-on dream that we want to make ourselves, and these people are making sick dollars with it.
Crazy money.
And if I had that opportunity,
Yeah.
don't be mad if I'm making that cash too, honey.
I'm not.
Right,
Because you'll
don't
have a
have-
shade named after me.
If there's a shade name called Queen ShanShan, bring it.
You're
Let's
going to name one
manifest
after
it.
me. After me, right? Baron
Baron
Edward
My,
Carr.
my color would be like a whore red. Like
Hor-
a Horus
like-
red. Like it
like
would be
the-
such a
the
slutty red.
Fuck me red.
Yeah, what would be your color?
Tom Ford
Yes,
lipstick, right?
which I ever give it to me as was it a Christmas gift or a birthday gift? And it's embedded, the initials are embedded. I still haven't used it because it's so pretty.
God, it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. I'm
Oh my
still
God.
afraid to use it.
But it's called
such
that,
a
right?
Pretty gorgeous red. What'd you say?
It's called the F word, right?
Wasn't it called the F word?
Fuck me red.
Yes, it is called that, I think.
You go Tom. You go Tom Ford.
Tom Ford knows where it is. But what would be your ideal color, your shade, Edward?
Like a sunset orange
Okay.
into like
You
with
love
some blue
orange.
tone.
You and Mom love
Blue
orange.
tones in the orange, if that's possible.
What
I
would
don't
be
know.
your color, Princess?
I like a pretty deep plum.
A deep plum?
Or
What would your color
maroon.
be called?
Dang.
I asked you a good question, huh?
Yeah.
Princess the Great.
Princess the Great?
Could work.
Okay. Speaking of that, the new HBO series, Catherine the Great, have you watched it yet?
No dying.
It's on my TV, and we're totally off the subject net. Have you watched the new Watchmen?
Girl, last night. First episode.
Was disturbed.
Love it.
I did not know it was about that.
Oh my god, it's so good. I
You
didn't
know
even.
the comic, the graphic novel
I've
series,
seen it,
Watchmen?
but I haven't gotten into it yet.
It is just, the first 5 minutes was so, I was
Oh my
like,
God.
no, I
Intense.
know this didn't happen in history, but it's a parallel history
Parallel history.
of the American history, American heroes, the anti-heroes. And the first 5 minutes is very disturbing.
We
And
watched
I'm
the
like,
movie
gonna
over
have
the
to
weekend,
watch
so
it.
we'd have some point of reference.
But it has nothing to do with that.
The characters they're all parallel.
Okay.
They're all parallel.
So they're
Have
going
you
to
seen
introduce
it?
those other characters in, because it's supposed to be the
I think
anti-hero
so.
story
Yeah.
to what's going on in their life and the real story of their.
Have you seen the movie?
Yes, I did. That
Okay.
was years ago.
So,
We're
the
still off
girl.
subject.
I know, so off subject,
Love it.
but it's fine. But okay, so the girl that is the boyfriend of the blue guy, the guy that can change all time.
Yeah,
and
he had the
all
big,
that.
he had the penis too.
He has a peen showing all the time. So, her, okay, she's Regina's character.
Really?
And her dad, Don Johnson, is the comedian character.
So I need to rewatch the movie.
Yeah.
That movie came out over 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it was a
over 10
flop.
years.
It didn't do very well. That was with Billy Crudup,
Yeah,
who played
Crudup.
the blue guy.
He's peen guy.
The ping.
Ping, ping.
And it was a flop, and I was looking for it. Everyone wanted that movie to be good, and it was a flop. I said, now I'm going to rewatch that movie. The Watchmen series is brought by the same people who did The Leftovers, which I was obsessed. That
Great show.
Great show. It was only 3 seasons. So it already comes out barreling, you're gasping for air watching the first 5-6 minutes of the show. You're like, oh my God, this is not what I was expecting. And then and then Don Johnson, I don't want to, I can't, no spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
But it's not, he's the main character, and it's kind of very Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's real,
Main character.
it's real good. It did its job because I'm ready for the next one.
Yes.
Yeah, next
yes.
episode, please.
I wasn't expecting that. So I'm looking forward to, but it actually, it's scary because it does resemble what we are going through with regards to race relations,
Oh, my
race
God.
relations in America,
Okay.
and what it could come up to.
It's like they're making it in real time.
They're making it about time.
Yeah.
What we're dealing with white supremacy, with the KKK, with white nationalists, with the neo-Nazis. It is very scary
Spot on.
that TV is resembling what real life may be literally now in our country.
Right.
So you guys watch The Watchmen. If you know what I mean, watch it, because I think it's going to be phenomenal.
And back to makeup.
And back to makeup.
Back to
What are we doing here? We're giving something away?
That's a great segue. Speaking of killer, speaking of murdering the scene, so Jeffree Star is going to murder the scene next week. The palette's going to be launched November 1st. You guys look out for it. In the meantime, we are still doing our amazing, fantastic giveaway. We got people DMing me the secret password, which was last week was revealed. That password, for you guys who haven't listened to episode 40 with Sean Dwyer and Elizabeth Cohen, the phrase was the fairest of them all. This week, we have a new phrase called Hi, how are ya? Now, if you know who Jeffree Star is, that's how he starts all of his YouTube videos. Hi, how are you? He does it with his Snapchats and his Instagram stories. So I'm going to adopt that for our phrase for today. The new phrase for the new giveaway that we are doing for the show, the brand new the Blue Blood palette and the Orange Chrome Mirror is Hi, how are ya? This is the second phrase for this week's show. So 2 phrases. You can do the fairest of them all or Hi, how are ya? Make sure you follow me on Instagram at abroadpodcasts. DM me the secret phrase and you will be entered to win. And the winners will be announced on Instagram on November 8th.
And let's just get this clear. They can't use the hi emoji, right?
No, you
No,
don't
it's not
tell
password.
me. Don't be cheating.
All
No
right.
cheaters.
You can't say, if you're from Texas, hi, how are y'all? You can't say that.
You can't do that. You have to let me know it's the true phrase, Hi, how are ya? 4 words.
There you go.
Okay? So good luck, and U.S. entries only. I'm not shipping this palette to Zimbabwe. Sorry. If you are abroad and want to come on our show to discuss experiences with food, culture, beauty, and travel, please email us at abroadproductions@gmail.com. You can also find more information about our show on our website at abroadproductions.com. Follow us on Instagram at Queen ShanShan, our Facebook fan page, which is Abroad Productions, and Twitter, which is at _broad_prod, spelled PROD. And if you also want to be on the show,
Email us as well at abroadproductions@gmail.com.
Princess, how you doing over there?
I'm doing great.
Did you have a good time today?
I sure did. Thank you again for having me.
You're so welcome. We really appreciate your input. We are so proud of you. Thank you for being my client as well.
Thank you. I know I'm
Okay.
gonna need that insurance.
Okay, we need that, honey. Absolutely. And again, I just want to say you are inspiring to me. You're inspiring to the thousands of listeners that are listening today on this podcast. I'm sure I'm going to get some feedback. Excuse me, burped again. I'm not even drinking on the show.
I know. What's happening?
What's happening? I keep burping. We are super proud of you, and
Thank
we
you.
can't wait to hear of your new accomplishments. You're gonna be a doctor, girl.
I can't wait.
Right? We're putting that in the universe. But you're gonna be a
Thank you.
doctor. I'm gonna be like, yes, she was on my show, Miss Doctor Princess, and we're waiting for all these new developments coming into your life. So it's very exciting.
It is. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And thank you for being a leader in the community too. We need you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We do. We need more people like you
We definitely
with
need
a
more people like
perspective from where you've come from to where you are now.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
You
guys.
should bottle that up and sell it.
I should.
So, broads, stay tuned to next week's show as we have a really well-known child actor who's also a good friend of mine. His name is Patrick David, and we're going to discuss his very busy, well-known child actor life, who is now a flourishing online high-end furniture company owner. And he used to be known as the Psycho Red character in the powerful show Power Rangers. And I never watched the show Power Rangers. Did you ever watch the
I
Power?
did.
You
I,
did? Did you watch it ever?
I was a little late.
I think
A
I
little
watched the
That and
first. I watched the first
one.
generation.
I think I watched the first.
Okay, well, he
generation.
was his character. I don't know what his generation was, but he was known as the Psycho Red character, which was very famous, I guess. But
Yeah.
that particular character or that team is being a resurgence in the Comic Cons now,
Okay.
in the last few months, and we're going to talk about the resurgence of his character or his character, and what he's doing right now. And he's incredibly handsome, Patrick David.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get to know him, and so I cannot wait for y'all to meet him and talk about what has been happening to him and what was it like to be this really well-known child actor, because he used to hang out with Paul Abdul, his picture with Shannon Doherty, all the 90210 kids. Like, he really was into
was in
the
that
mix.
mix?
Yeah, he's in the mix.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about that, and is it all that it's cracked up to be?
Okay.
And he's a very humble guy. I really love him. He's a really nice guy. So stay tuned for that show next week. But in the meantime, I'm Queen ShanShan, and thank you for listening to Abroad.